With him we win. He's our champion. With him we can't lose. We always win. He's our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our hands. We lift our voice. We celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. We lift our hands. We lift our voice. We celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our hands. We lift our voice. We celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, we lift our hands. We lift our voice. We celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. We lift our hands, we lift our voice, we celebrate our champion. We sing hallelujah, for the King who is victorious. Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, Yahuwah is the awesome Yah, and there is none like you. With you we win. You're our champion. With you we can't lose. We always win. You're our champion. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Come on, Bruce, come on, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah. We celebrate our champion. Yahuwah is an awesome Yah, and there is none like him. As we gather together this great rising, that we may make our voices heard on high, that we may make our petition and our request known unto our Yah. As we come together this great rising, excuse me, this Yom Shalishi. As we come together, we're going to begin our morning with a reading of the Decalogue, which is repeated, which are the 10 Commandments, as we stand before you this great rising to read them. Verse 6, coming from the book of Devarim, chapter 5, verses 6 through 22. And it reads, Aleph, I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from the bed of slavery. Bet, you shall have no other power before me. You shall not make you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the Mayim beneath, excuse me, the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the Abbas upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that are harbor me, and keep my commandments. Gimel, You shall not take the name of Yahuwah your power and falsify it. For Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name and empties it. Dalet, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, nor you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates, that your manservant and maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuwah your power brought you out of there through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuwah your power commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Esteem your Abba and your Ema as Yahuwah your power has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged and that it may go well with you in the land which Yahuwah your power is about to give you. Wav, you shall not murder. Zayin, neither shall you commit adultery. Ket, neither shall you steal. Tet, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. Yud, neither shall you desire your neighbor's wife, neither shall you, covet your neighbor's bed, his field or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. These words Yahuwah spoke unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tablets of stone and delivered them unto me. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. Now we're going to do the Baruch of the Torah. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, repeat with me. Baruch Yahuwah.
Baruch Yahuwah.
Is the Baruch one.
Is the Baruch one.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
Baruch is Yahuwah.
The Baruch one.
The Baruch one.
For all eternity.
For all eternity.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme one.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
Who selected us from all the peoples.
And gave us his Torah.
And gave us his Torah.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Our supreme one.
Our supreme one.
King of the universe.
King of the universe.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
Who gave us the Torah of truth.
And implanted eternal life within us.
And implanted eternal life within us.
Baruch atah.
Baruch atah.
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Giver of the Torah.
Giver of the Torah.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Yahusha, the son of Nun, as we go there, chapter 1, verses 7 and 8. We're going to read the first verse and then we're going to confess verse 7 as a personal confession. Verse 7 says, "Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go." Verse 8, let us repeat this as a time of confession. "I will not let the scroll of the Torah
I will not let the scroll of the Torah
depart out of my mouth,
depart out of my mouth,
but I shall meditate in it
but I shall meditate in it
day and night,
day and night,
that I may observe to do
that I may observe to do
according to all that is written in it.
according to all that is written in it.
For then I shall make my way prosperous,
And then I shall make my way prosperous,
and act wisely,
and act wisely,
and act wisely.
and act wisely.
Now look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Look at your other neighbor, tell your other neighbor, and you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Take your hand and place it over your heart and say, Abba Yah,
Abba Yah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
Abba Yah,
Abba Yah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
I endeavor
I endeavor
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
I endeavor
I endeavor
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
Come on, one more time. I endeavor
I endeavor
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. We will go a long way acting wisely. For whenever we fail to act wisely, that is when we're going to feel the sting of being foolish. Luke 18 and 1, says, men ought to always pray and not faint. That means we ought to always find that time, no matter what's going on in our lives, to pray, to seek the face of Abba Yah, actually to seek his heart, that we may know without a shadow of a doubt that we're doing and that we are becoming the people, his children of power that we're supposed to be. Right. It is of the utmost importance, especially now in this time that we are in, that we act wisely. It is important that we do that. Because understand, everything we do, Abba Yah is keeping a record of it. He is keeping a booklet of it. He's keeping everything that we do in a journal, and it is so. And so we want to make sure that everything that's being written of us and about us, that we are doing what we're supposed to do, and that we are not being outside of his truth. We're going to go to Debiram. I know I said I was going to go to Debiram, but we're going to go to Debre Hayemim Bet, which is Corinthians, 1 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, as we read some of our foundational scriptures for this time of intercessory prayer. And it reads, and this is something we should always remember, no matter what we're going through and no matter what we're facing. We are his people. And it says, if my people, which are called by my name, and we are called by his name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face. To pray means to conversate with him. To seek his face means to seek everything about him that we can find out about him. And then the next thing is to turn from our wicked ways. He said, then will I hear from Shemayim and will forgive what? Their sins. And will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attentive to the prayer that is made in this place. Now if you notice, he said he will heal our land. The reason why it's important that we understand that the land be healed, because until our land is healed, we will never be able to occupy it.
That's right.
To heal it means that it's everything that's on it and every person that's in it that's not supposed to be there will be driven off of it. Just like a disease or a bad cold that is driven out by antibiotics and by the things that go to purge those things out of our lives. That's right. That's the same thing with our land, our inheritance, our possession. And so it's important that we always understand that our prayer and our turning from our sins, excuse me, is what brings about the healing to our land. Right. So it's important that we truly understand this and that we maintain that lifestyle of prayer, because our prayer is to bring forth healing to the land. Right. But we got to turn from our wicked ways and we got to stay away from them. Right. And it is so. And it is so. Now listen what he says in verse 15. He said, now my eyes shall be open and my ears attentive to the prayer that is made in this place. For now have I chosen and set apart this house, that my name may be there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall always be there. And as for you, if you will walk before me as thou wilt, your Abba walked, and do according to all that I have commanded you, and shall observe my statutes and my judgments. It is important that we understand about observing. It is important and imperative that we observe everything, his statutes, his commandments, his righteous ruling, his upright judgment. These are very important to us at this very moment of our lives. Right. Why? Because these things are creating and bringing that what is important to us in our lives. It is so important that we understand that, and the writings tell us, be not weary and well-doing. It is important that we do not become weary, no matter what we are facing and no matter what may come up against us. It is important that we maintain our consistency and that we not give up on truth. That's right. That we not give up on truth. Why am I saying this? Because it's important that we don't. It's important that we understand our position and understand where we are and where we are going. Many may say, oh, I do understand. I'm well familiar with that. That's all well and good speaking it. But the bottom line is that it has to be an action from our lives. Right. It's just like when you're getting ready to take a trip. You prepare to take that trip. You pack your clothes. You pack the necessities. You know, when you're getting ready to go on a trip, no matter where you're going, you know, everything you can't take because everything is not supposed to go with you. But there are certain things that we need to take, and this is a time and a season that we need to be preparing ourselves for where we are going. Right. For where we are going. Now, once again, not trying to put a time and a date on where it is. And I know many of people say in 2019, but even the writings say that no man knows the day nor the hour when the Son of Man shall appear. So it's important that we understand that we keep our eyes focused and we keep our hearts set on what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And that is unifying ourselves and becoming as one, as a mishpachah, and the children of power. So it's important that we understand, and that while we are waiting on his return, that we continue to build ourselves. We continue to build our belief, and we continue to build our stamina for the things that are at hand. And it is so. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 1 through 18. And it reads, "These are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you are going to enter and possess it, that you might fear Yahuwah your power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son and your grandson, all the days of your life, and that your days may be" what? Prolonged. Prolonged. "Hear therefore, O Yisrael, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah power of your Abbas has promised you, in the land that flows with milk and honey." Excuse me. Verse 4. "Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our supreme one, Yahuwah is a God. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah is our Savior, Yahuwah is a God. And you shall ahaba Yahuwah your supreme one with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, to fall, to bind to the mind. And you shall write them upon the posts of your bed and on your gates. And it shall be, when Yahuwah your power shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your Abbas, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give you great cities which you did not build, and houses full of all great things which you filled not, and wells dug which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. When you shall have eaten and be full, then beware, lest you forget Yahuwah, which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power, and serve him, and shall swear by his name. And you shall not go after other power, the power of the people which are round about you. For Yahuwah your power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your power be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power, and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right and great in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Yahuwah swore unto your Abbas. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. It is important that we understand everything that he's given unto us to follow. It is like repeat again. Repeat again. Why? Because it's about repetition. And that is the truth. Because what we are learning and where we are fortifying ourselves is for where we are, but also most importantly for where we're going. We never want to forget where we are and the importance of knowing everything that he has for us. And it is so.
And it is so.
All right, now we're going to turn our attention to the book of Tehillim, chapter 63. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Our main, this is the chapter and the verses that we base our morning prayer upon. There are many others, but this is the one that we base this on. Tehillim 63, chapters 1 through 11, and it reads, O power, you are my power. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where no Ma'im is, to see your power and your beauty, so as I have seen you in the sanctuary. Because your loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise you. Because your kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise you. Thus will I Baruch you while I live. I will lift up my hands in your name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise you with joyful lips. When I remember you upon my bed, and meditate on you in the night watches. Because you have been my help, therefore in the shadow of your wings will I rejoice. My soul follows, pursues you. Your right hand upholds me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword. They shall be eaten by the jackals. Now listen at verse 11. But the king shall rejoice in power. Everyone that swears by him shall see beauty. But the mouth of them that speaks lies shall be stopped. And it is so.
And it is so.
We have a promise. Some of us may say, well, I'm not a king, I'm a queen. So how does that refer to me? Easy, because if they are an enemy unto you and they are lying, their lips shall be closed. Their lips shall be sealed. That is a promise. And so when it's all said and done, the thing that we have to focus on is living right and being an example and a mouthpiece of Abba Yah to our prostituting family, the prostituting sheep of Yisrael. It is important that we understand these things. Why? Because this is what keeps us in that vein to where we know what we're supposed to do. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. As we've come to this portion, let us bow our heads. Let us prostrate ourselves. You may stand. You may sit. You may lay out before him. You may kneel. However, let us come together and join our belief that we may touch the heart of Abba Yah in this hour and during this great rising. And it is so.
And it is so.
Abba Yah, in the mighty name of your son, Yahushua HaMashiach, as we stand before you this great rising, we ask first and foremost that you forgive us of any and all sin, blot out our transgressions, that there be nothing between us and thee. I ask Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, that you would cleanse us, that you would wash us, and that you would renew our minds and renew us in our belief in you. I ask Abba Yah, this great rising, that you will remove every obstacle, everything that is standing against us, and every attack of the enemy, everything that the enemy is trying to do to derail us and to thwart us and to try to keep us from serving you with our whole hearts. This day, Abba Yah, as we stand before you this great rising, I ask that you will raise up a standard against the enemy, that as we stand before you this great rising, that you would fortify us, strengthen us in our hearts and in our minds and in our wills and in our stamina. As we come before you, Abba Yah, we ask that you will give us strength and anoint us afresh for this day. Help us, Abba Yah, to face whatever it is that we're facing head on. Help us never to run and never to go and hide in the sand and hide our heads as if nothing is going on and as if nothing is happening. But give us that strength, Abba Yah, as you have promised us according to the writings. As we stand before you this great rising, we forgive all those that have trespassed against us in any form or fashion. For those that have spoken lies and for those that have done things to be malicious and to be mean, we ask, Abba Yah, that you forgive them. As you have forgiven us, we forgive them as well. And we ask that you will forgive them as we continue to move forward. Help us, Abba Yah, not to hold grudges and not to hold anything within our hearts. Help us never to lie about our feelings and our emotions, but help us to be straightforward and be truthful, that we may be healed and that we may be brought forth continuously in your presence, so we can grow and develop as your children, the children of power. This great rising, Abba Yah, I cry out today for those that are in situations where they can't cry out for themselves, mental blockages, mental bondage and emotional bondage. I ask today, Abba Yah, that you will free us, your people, from the bondages of our mind and our hearts and our emotions, that we would not dare forget what manner of person we were, and that person that we were before we came into the Torah, as we continue to strive to be your children and continue to strive God to be that example. Help us not to forget the reason why we are in this walk and we are in this lifestyle. It is a gift from you, a gift that we did not earn, but it is a gift that you gave unto our ancestors and forefathers, which passed on down to us. Help us to be ever sensitive and ever careful of how we govern ourselves and even how we deal with one another, even in situations where we may not agree, but learn how to disagree agreeably. Help us, Abba Yah, to be strength one to another. Help us never to tear down one another and without coming back to build up. Help us never to be malicious with our words. Help us never to be malicious with our actions towards our and our Cody. Help us, Abba Yah, to learn and to truly be patient with one another and long-suffering. Help us, Abba Yah, to be those that carry peace, to be peacemakers or shalom makers, and not be those that continue to instigate and stir up trouble and stir up division. But help us to be shalom makers. Help us to be carriers of your shalom. Abba Yah, in the mighty name of your son, Yahushua HaMashiach, I stand before you this great rising, crying out for the unity and the strength of our people, the children of Yisrael, the nation of Yisrael. I cry out for those, Abba Yah, that have issues in their hearts and in their minds and even in their bodies that is causing their bodies to be affected by this, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Help us, Abba Yah, to do a deep search within our hearts and truly begin to look at the areas of our lives that we really need to get help with, the areas that we need to lay on the altar, so that we are not running around taking this medication and that medication, trying to fix a situation that medication can't fix. The only thing can fix it is our obedience to everything that you have given unto us according to the Torah. Help us, Abba Yah, not to pick and choose what we want to follow, but to follow the whole law, to follow everything that you've given unto us. As Ezekiel was told, eat the whole roll. As we continue to eat the whole roll, to consume everything you said, not the traditions of men. Help us to be able to point out and to see when it is tradition and when it is Judaism, and help us to understand when it is the Torah, the pure, unadulterated Torah, your instructions for our lives. Give us an ear to hear and an eye to see, to be able to discern the voices of man and your voice in the writings. I told you, Abba Yah, for what you're doing. Keep us on that path of that straight and narrow path, that we dare not stray to the left nor to the right, that we dare not go backwards, but we go forward. And when we can't move forward, that we will be still and know that you are Yah, that you are our Savior, that you are our King. Help us, Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, never ever to falsify anything concerning ourselves or concerning our mishpachah. Help us to be straightforward. And if we can't be straightforward, help us to shut up and do nothing, so that we don't fall into traps and get into trouble with you. Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, this great rising, I cry out for those that are in places, unsafe conditions, those that are in Biafra, those that are in Dubai, those that are in places, Abba Yah, even in places in Yisrael, in Jerusalem. I pray, Abba Yah, for our mishpachot that are there, for those that are struggling, for those that are in dire need of help. I pray, Abba Yah, that you would send help to those that are struggling, and for those that are truly trying to live this life and just need some help. I pray this great rising that you would send help, Abba Yah. Send help to those that need help in places where they can't get any assistance. I ask, Abba Yah, for divine assistance. I ask, Abba Yah, that you would lead and guide them to those places of security and safety. For we know that when we are in you, that we are safe and secure. We also know that you will lead and guide us as you led the children of Yisrael, as you led Abraham, as you led Isaac, and you led Yaakov, as you led them into places when famine came, when they were in need of help, when they're in need of different things. You led them, Abba Yah, to that watering place. You led them to that place where they could be sustained until the famine was over. I told you, Abba Yah, for that same guidance in this day and in this hour, for leading and guiding us to that place of prosperity, to that well that we need, to the brook of Kidron, to that place that will sustain us, Abba Yah, until everything is brought out and made clear. I told you, Abba Yah, for giving us an ear to hear and a heart to perceive when we ought to move and when we ought to maintain. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will being done. Strengthen us at the core of our being. Strengthen us, Abba Yah, in our emotions. Strengthen us, Abba Yah, in our ruach. Strengthen us in our minds that we dare not faint and fumble. As the writings tell us in Luke 18:1, that we ought to always pray and not faint. Help us not to give way to the enemy. Help us not to open doors for him to come in. Help us to keep every area of our lives concealed and closed with the Torah. Help us, Abba Yah, in an hour of weakness to know that even in an hour of weakness, that your strength is made perfect. As Rabbi Shaul made it very clear, as you told him, in his hour of weakness, your strength is made perfect. Help us to understand that there is no hour of temptation that is beyond us that you won't help us to get through and make it out. I told you, Abba Yah, that trials will come and testing will come. But if we lean and depend upon you, you will not let us stumble or fall. You will not let us become a byword. You will not allow us to become a reproach, but you will uphold us with your free ruach and with your right hand of power. As we stand before you this great rising, Abba Yah, we cry out to you for help. We cry out to you for unity and strength. We cry out to you, Abba Yah, for help to sustain us in this hour and in this season. As you are allowing us, Abba Yah, to hear those things on the wind and to see those things that are coming upon the horizon. Help us not to be lullabied in a sleep of slumber, that we forget, Abba Yah, that we have a task and a responsibility. That responsibility is to be an example to the prostituting sheep of Yisrael. I pray this great rising that you will bring forth unity and strength in the mishpachah for those that are in situations that they're trying to make up their mind whether to leave or whether to stay. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will give your people answers, those answers that they've been needing and waiting on, some for years, some for months, some for weeks, some for days, some for hours, and some for minutes. But whatever the timeline, I pray this great rising that you would send the answer. Those that have been toiling and those that have been going through, that you would give them the answer that they need this great rising. I told you, Abba Yah, that they will hear your voice and not their own, and mistake their own voice because of their desires and their passions for what they want. Hearing their own voices, believing that it is you. I told you, Abba Yah, that you give your people an ear to hear so that we will know when to do and what to do, and that we will not follow the path of uprightness and follow our own heart's desire, believing that it is you. For you have given us a principle and you have given us a way, and we know that your writings will always lead and guide us and direct us. Help us never to put off and to disregard the roadmap to our life, which is the Torah. I told you this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will strengthen our hands to do war, that you will strengthen us in our bodies, Abba Yah. For those that are feeble and for those that are feeling weak in heart and mind, for those that are getting weary, Abba Yah, I pray that you would send strength unto them, that for those that are weak in heart and weak in mind, send strength now, Abba Yah. Send your strength now to recover them and to strengthen them from the crown of their heads to the very sole of their feet. I told you, Abba Yah, for maintaining our consistency and not straying course and not giving up and aborting the mission that you've given unto us. though we hear on a consistent basis negative things, and though we continue to hear everything that Washington is trying to do and about to do, help us to remain focused and steadfast and unmovable, always abounding in your truth, knowing that it is not in vain, that our labor in you is not in vain. Oh, Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua, our Mashiach, keep the head of your people up. Keep our heads up, Abba Yah. Keep our ruach up on top. Help us never to give way to the negative saying, to the naysayers, but help us to maintain our consistency as we continue to move in you, and as we continue, Abba Yah, to seek your face, to seek your heart, and to seek your ways. I pray this great rising for those that are in Louisiana, for those that are in Texas, Georgia, South and North Carolina. I pray, Abba Yah, for those that are in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and those that are in Baltimore, those that are in Chicago, Abba Yah. I pray for those that are scattered to the four extremities. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will cause us to rise up in our belief, and that we begin to feel one another and connect in the Ruach Kodesh, that we would know your voice, and that we would know when you say move and when you say be still, that we would listen, Abba Yah, even and watch the elements, that we would learn from what the elements are saying unto us, that we would learn what the elements are predicting to us. Abba Yah, in the mighty name of Yahushua al-Mashiach, I told you for that what you're doing and that what you've done. Bring reconciliation to the Mishpachah. Bring reconciliation to that Ish and Isha. Bring reconciliation to their children. I pray this great rising that this would be a day of reconciliation for those that need to be reconciled to Mishpachah, for those that need to be first and foremost reconciled to you, Abba Yah, that they would be reconciled to you through Yahushua al-Mashiach. I pray this great rising for those, Abba Yah, that are in New Orleans, for those, Abba Yah, that are in Bossier City in Louisiana, for those of your people, Abba Yah, that are in different places that are scattered around the world, for those that feel like they're lonely, Abba Yah. I pray this great rising that you would lift them up, and that the Ruach Kodesh would minister to their hearts like never before. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for your strength, for your endurance, that we would endure hardness as a good soldier, that we would not give ear and give way to the negative talk and to the negative things that we constantly see on a day-to-day basis. Help us, Abba Yah, to do as they did in the movie, shields up. Help us to put our shields up to protect us from those things that would come and try to divert us and try to tear us down, Abba Yah. Make our foreheads as flint, that as we go forth, we will not regard what they say that's negative, that we will not even give ear to what they say that's negative, and that will come to try to break our ruach. We told you, Abba Yah, this great rising, for being a healer. Bring healing today to the hearts and the minds and the physical being of your people. For those that are struggling with high blood pressure, sugar, diabetes. For those that are struggling with lupus, even AIDS, Abba Yah. For those that are struggling on this day with obesity and anorexic, I pray, Abba Yah, that you will bring forth your healing and deliverance. That you will purge us from these things and the mindset of this Western way of living. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will bring forth healing to the mind, healing to the heart, healing to the ruach, that they'll be able to know and to discern between upright and that what is not right. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that are struggling with childhood, not just diseases, but childhood hurts and childhood situations. This great rising, Abba Yah, let them cast it on the altar and leave it there and bring that healing that is able to heal them from everything, from the crown of their head to the very sole of their feet. Many that are struggling with childhood secrets and don't know how and what to do about it. But this great rising, teach them and help them to cast it on the altar, Abba Yah, that they may truly experience your healing and your shalom. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that are struggling with abuse, old abuse, that this would be that day that they would cast it aside and cast it on the altar and walk away in your strength and in your power, not giving it any victory and not giving it any strength, Abba Yah, but that they will walk in your shalom and they will walk in your strength, and that what is the root to their problems and to the root of their brokenness and their heaviness. I pray this great rising that you will show them where it stems from, these different things, and that they would pull it up and purge it out of them, and that they would cast it on the altar to give way to the infilling and the indwelling of the Ruach Kodesh. This great rising, Abba Yah, I Torah you for those that have experienced very bad relationships that has scarred them. Many that are scarred, truly scarred, and then scarred again, and then scarred again. I pray, Abba Yah, that you will go to the root of it, and that you would uproot it this great rising, that they'll be able to truly live in shalom and truly walk in your healing. I Torah you, Abba Yah, for that what you're doing. For those, Abba Yah, that are working and desiring to truly be free from having to punch any man's time clock. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will begin to give your people wisdom on how to live debt-free, on how to have ownership of land, of how to have ownership of their own businesses, being entrepreneurs. And for those that have had businesses that constantly find themselves every other month fluctuating and vacillating because they cannot stabilize what it is. I pray, Abba Yah, for those that are standing in your truth and that are doing what they're called to do on a day-to-day basis, that you would open up the door, and that whatever it is that is blocking them, and that whatever it is causing their businesses not to rise to that place, that you would remove every blockage, every hindrance, every demonic force that desires to keep their business just at a minimum working level. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will remove the blockage and remove those things that are in the way, so that their businesses can take a flight and begin to truly be a Baruch as you have given it unto them for the children of power. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that need jobs and desire jobs because they're still praying and desiring to know what it is they're supposed to do, what business they're trying to bring forth. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you will cause them to walk in that field that would help them to be able to launch their own business. For you have called us to be a people that are Baruch. And I told you, Abba Yah, for the Baruchs that do not bring and add sorrow. For we know, Abba Yah, that when you Baruch us with something, it will not bring grief and it will not bring sorrow unto us. But for those that need that boost and need that, I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that doors and calls will begin to come to them, and that they will have their choice, and that they'll be able to make the days that they want off for Sabbath rest and for the feast, that you will give them esteem, Abba Yah, that they're able to do what they need to do to esteem you and to obey you. I told you, Abba Yah, this great rising for what you're doing and for what you've done. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, for those that are desiring homes and for those that desire to purchase land. Begin to show them the right place and the place that they're able to purchase land so that they can have land, Abba Yah, in places that don't have restrictions, in places that don't restrict and that have so many restrictions on it. But I pray, Abba Yah, that the Ruach Kodesh would lead them and show them the places in that place that you would have them. For those, Abba Yah, that may not desire to purchase land, but desire to be a part of a place, a community, I pray, Abba Yah, this great rising, that you would lead and guide them and orchestrate their footing, that they would know the place they're supposed to be, and that they will begin to invest and follow in that. I told you, Abba Yah, for the examples that you've given unto us, for the example of Joseph and how he was able to preserve his mishpachah. I told you, Abba Yah, for that what you're doing unto us and that what you're bringing us into, in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I told you, Abba Yah, every day of our lives that you cause us to rise. We give you Torah. because you didn't have to wake us up. You could have left us sleep. You could have left us in that place of death. You could have left us dark and without light and without understanding, but you awoke us, Abba Yah, and we are truly thankful for that this great rising. We truly do todah you for that what you have done and that what you're doing. Not only did you wake us up, but you open our hearts and minds so that we would not just be conscious or half awake and still partially sleep, but you woke us up to understand and to desire the sincere milk of the Torah, so that we're able to grow and to develop and be the children of power that you are causing us to be. I pray this great rising that you will purge that old way of thinking out of our minds. The way that we used to think, help us not to think that way. Help us not to make it and merge it and try to synchronize it with the way of truth. Help us truly to get rid of that old way of thinking, that stinking thinking. Help us, Abba Yah, to take the Torah and read it and begin to look at the areas of our lives that we truly need to work on, that we truly need to have an overhaul in our lives. I told you, Abba Yah, that you are bringing the separation in, that you are separating the sheep from the goat, that you are separating the men from the boys and the women from the girls, that you are separating your people. And as you continue to separate us and to set us apart from every people and every nation, I told you, Abba Yah, that we will not fight you. We will not struggle with what choices you're making, but we will find ourselves living and doing all that you have told us to do. As we continue to open our lives to accommodate the Torah, which is our guideline, which is the guide to our lives. Help us to grow, help us to develop, to be healthy and wholesome children of power. I told you, Abba Yah, as you continue to reveal unto us your Ruach HaKodesh, as you continue to reveal unto us who we are and our purpose, as you continue to reveal unto us, Abba Yah, I told you for keeping us. I told you for those things that are strong, that strong meat. I told you, Abba Yah, for giving us the ability to handle everything that you are bringing forth to us. Literature and information that has been hidden for thousands and thousands of years. But now you are trusting us, your people, the children of power, to be able to handle it and handle it in a manner that we are not reckless and careless with the information, but that we know how to utilize it and teach others how to utilize this information about who we are and where we come from, and all of those things that are important and necessary to the development and growth of who we are. I told you, Abba Yah, this great rising. For those that are yet waiting on finances, a financial overhaul, let it not be delayed any longer. Let this be the day that their manifestation takes place. Even if it's by way of taxes, Abba Yah, let them receive them, that they're able to do what they need to do as we make preparations for Peshat, a time that has been given unto us, the greatest time that we could ever experience. I told you, Abba Yah, that we would dare not ever take it lightly or take it for granted. As we make preparations to be at that appointed time, the Mo'ed, an appointment with you, Abba Yah, a time that I believe that you're going to show forth your healing and the magnitude of your power in us and through us. I told you, Abba Yah, for what you're going to do and for how you're going to cover us and how you're going to prepare us for the things that are coming and at hand. Just as you covered the children of Yisrael when they were in Mitzrayim, as you covered them and as every place they went and as you continue to move them, every stage and every place they moved, you covered them and you kept them. As I truly believe that this is a time that you're getting ready to cover us, your people, for that what is at hand. For the storms that will continue to rage and will continue to gather against us. I told you, Abba Yah, for being our anchor and for being our secure tower and our hiding place. I told you, Abba Yah, for healing. I told you, Abba Yah, for your people coming together and being unified. I pray for your leaders, Abba Yah, and for your moras and your mores. I pray, Abba Yah, that you will continue to fill our hearts and fill our mouths with that which you would have us to say. I pray this great rising that you would fill us with the Ruach HaKodesh, and that our words would no longer be our words, but our words would be your words, sent straight from Shemayim. I told you, Abba Yah, for what you're doing and for what you've done. I told you, Abba Yah, for protection. And help us not to stray, help us not to give way and give in because of a dollar, but help us, Abba Yah, to continue to cry loud and spare not. Continue to help us, Abba Yah, to follow in that path that you have orchestrated for us, your people, the children of power. I told her you, Abba Yah, for Baruching your people this day. And for those that have been waiting and those things that have been held up, whether it's a financial Baruch, whether it is real estate, whatever it is, estates, I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that this will be a time of release. As we're following in this time, Abba Yah, making preparations, I told our youth for Baruching our hands to make sure that we have everything we need, that we may truly find ourselves in your presence and at that appointment, no matter what we have to do to be there at that appointment, to be with you. I told you, Abba Yah, for those that are in Kentucky, for those that are in Virginia, for those that are in Arkansas, Arizona. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will be done. Help us not to lose focus, but help us to remain focused and help us to remain vigilant and sober, that we dare not be overtaken by the enemy and by the wooing of the enemy. Help us to always be on guard and always to be prepared in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. But above all, Abba Yah, help us to maintain our consistency and truly have a true ahava for you and the Torah, whether it is a rebuke over our lives or whether it is confirmation or constellation. I told you, Abba Yah, for your will be done in us and through us. I pray this great rising, Abba Yah, that you would bring release for us, your people, as we're making preparations here in this place. I told you, Abba Yah, for that what you're doing, that what you've done, and that what you're yet going to do. Break the chains, Abba Yah. Break the chains off of your people's lives. Break the chains off of the minds and the hearts and the wills of us, your people, that we may truly prove that we are the children of power through our wisdom as we continue to advance and move forward. In the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And it is so. And it is so. Come on, put your hands together and Baruch him. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. 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 Mishnah 15 and 8, the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination, hateful and exceedingly offensive unto you, Abba Yah. But the prayer of the upright, it is your delight. Mishnah 3 and 4, so shall you find great understanding and high esteem in the sight or judgment of Yahuwah and man, and it is so.
And it is so.
Tehillim 1 and 1, Baruch is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the unrighteous, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth at the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the instructions of the Torah of Abba Yah, and he doth meditate upon him. Ibram 11 and 6, but without belief it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Abba Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And it is so.
And it is so.
Tehillim 34 and 15, the eyes of Yahuwah are upon the upright, and his ears are open unto our cry. Verse 17, the upright cry, and Yahuwah heareth and delivereth us out of all our troubles. And it is so.
And it is so.
Ayah 33 and 4, the Ruach Kodesh of Yahuwah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. And it is so.
And it is so.
Yehukanan Moshiach, which is Mark 11:24. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. It is a guarantee. It is a promise unto us. I believe for everything that I'm asking for, that Abba Yah is going to bring it unto us. He's going to bring it to me personally, my personal request and my request as a whole. It is important that we believe what we're asking him for.
That's right.
Because you have to understand, anything that is not belief is sin. And I don't want to be sinning and still calling myself a believer, because I'm walking in doubt and disbelief. Yehukanan Aleph, chapter 5, verse 4 and 5. For whatsoever is born of Yahuwah overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world. Even our belief. Who is he that overcometh the world? But he that believeth that Yahushua is the son of Yahuwah. Yehukanan Aleph, chapter 2, verse 5 and 6. For whoever keeps his word, truly the ahava of Yahuwah is perfected in him. By this we know that we are in him. He who says he abides in him ought himself also to walk just as he walked. He is a living example unto us, and we should mimic, and we should pick up the way he walks, and we should walk as he walked. Verse 17, and the world passes away and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Abba Yah abideth forever. Somebody say abideth forever.
And abideth forever.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Let us have our song, please. We have come this far by belief, leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by belief. We have come this far by belief. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by belief. We have come this far by belief. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by belief. We have come this far by belief. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by belief. We have come this far by belief. Leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in the Torah. He's never failed me yet. Oh, can't turn around. We've come this far by belief. Now come on. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We have come this far by belief, leaning on Yahuwah, trusting in His Kadesh word, and it is so. Excuse me, Devarim chapter 11, verses 13 through 22. And it shall come to pass, if you listen carefully to my commandments, which I command you this day, to Ahava Yahuwah your power, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your corn and your wine and your oil. And I will send grass in your fields for your cattle, that you may eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and you turn aside and serve other power and worship them. And then Yahuwah's wrath be ignited against you. And he shut up Shemaiah, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, lest you perish quickly from off the great land which Yahuwah gives you. Therefore shall you lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall teach them, your children, speaking of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. Once again, that is important. And I say this to every parent. Find that time to talk with your children about the Torah. I don't care if you're eating. I don't care if you're just sitting. I don't care. You need to find a time that you make them interested in hearing about the Torah. It doesn't matter how old they are or how young they are. This is a command, and we must do it if we want to maintain and keep our children intact. Because remember, Mishlei 21:6 says, train up a child in the way that he should go or she should go. And when they're older, they will not stray from it. It's important that we understand to train up our children. That's how the training process begins. First, it begins by giving them the instructions and then letting them see us live the Torah. Be living examples. And this is important, especially if you have children that are still in the public school system.
Right.
You got to have something stronger and more powerful than what they are presenting. So when your children go to school, they are able to combat it with the principles and with the teaching and the guidance of the Torah, which will keep them and will make sure they stay set apart.
That's right.
So it's important that we understand these things. And it's important that they don't control it, but you control it. And you show them this is the way you have to live. Cause them to ahava it. Cause them to have a hunger for it.
Right.
And that way, as they continue to grow older, they will not stray from it. No matter what is offered to them, no matter what propositions are given to them, they will maintain their consistency. And no matter who asks them, they will maintain their confession of belief.
Right.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Excuse me. And you shall write them upon the doors of your doorposts of your bed and upon your gates, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children in the land which Yahuwah swore unto your Abbas, to give them as the days of Shemayim upon the earth. For if you shall carefully keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to ahava Yahuwah your power, and to walk in all his halakha, and to cling unto him. It is important that we have that clinging mentality concerning Abba Yah. And the reason why I kind of chuckle at it is because most of the time you hear people talk about other people. Man, they too clingy. I don't like nobody clinging to me. Well, we have to cling unto Abba Yah. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to cling to one another. Once again, this Western way has really truly caused us to be defective in some of our principles and lifestyle. You know, we think, just because we want to be together or want to be with somebody, and I'm talking about people that are married, and that what has been approved of. So don't take my words the wrong way. Are you understanding me?
Yes.
And so when you have that position, you're supposed to be clingy. You're supposed to make sure there is no room for anybody else to get in there. You're supposed to make sure that that's what you're doing. Maintaining that consistency and that lock that when people see, they be like, no. And even if the devil got crazy, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Why? Because you're so close and you're so knit together that there's no room. There is no opening. There's no cracks. There's no even, little sign of life that there can be a wedge brought there. And that's even for our children.
That's right.
Because believe it or not, people will come in and try to put a wedge in between you and your children.
That's right.
And this is something that we really need to focus on, especially in this hour. With all the things that are going around, especially once again, for those of you that still have your children in public schools. You have to pray over them, not just pray over them, but you have to read with them the writings, and you have to make sure that you are confessing them, they're confessing them, and this thing is becoming a part of their lifestyle.
That's right.
So that they won't ever give way to the enemy, and that the enemy won't be able to use them as a microphone, as a camera recorder in your house, if you understand what I mean. In other words, they will not go back and be telling your business to those teachers and to those people of authority at the school.
That's right.
So it's important that you do this. And it is so. And it is so. Tehillim 119 and 105, just a few more nuggets for you before we dismiss. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my pathway, meaning the Torah. Tehillim 119 and 11, thy word or thy Torah have I hid in mine heart that I might not sin against thee. It is important that we hide it. When you want something hid and you don't want anybody to get it, you don't want anybody to mess with it, what do? You hide it. So we want to hide it in our heart. But one thing I want to say, in order for it to remain covered and concealed in your heart, there must never be anything else in your heart that will choke it out or that will push it out. The reason why he hid it in his heart, because he knows that's the place of our emotions at times. That's the place, you got to remember, we process things in our minds, but we also process things in and from our hearts.
That's right.
It's a processing center too. And so we want to make sure that when we process this in our heart, that there is nothing in there to turn around and evoke it, or to turn around and cause us to dismiss it from our hearts. So it's important that we understand that. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Once again, let us continue to do what we're supposed to do, that we may find that great esteem in the heart and in the mind of Abba Yah. One more thing I want to leave with you, those of you that are still with us, as this Sabbath rest, we had a phenomenal time. And let me tell you something, every Sabbath rest, there ought to be some type of revelation coming.
That's right.
Even if it's one that's supposed to be shared with just the in-house or with the children of power. And on this Sabbath rest, as we were accustomed to eating turkey, many of people already have known, and many of us did not know. And so as we were in Sabbath rest, and we do as we always do, cook and make preparations, and then sometime during our time of rest, you know, you share different things with a lot of the mishpachah. And this particular time, once again, I told Abba Yah for the prayer of the upright, and that he answers us, and especially when we're asking him, and we're asking him constantly to forgive us and to make sure that our lives are pleasing before him. And so this Sabbath rest, as we were resting, and Cody Yasmin was sharing the stew online, and she was sharing it with a brother with an aunt, and he turned around and he sent her a message. And he began to show her that turkeys are unclean because they are a part of the vulture family. Now, when you look at a turkey, because it's really long, it's a lot of information, and if you would like that information, if you would like the extended version, then you can hit me up and we will get that to you. But the short version is that they are vultures. They are kin to vultures, and they were domesticated. How? Look at their head and their neck. A vulture that eats carrion, and anything that eats dead meat or whatever never grows hair on its head. And if you look at a turkey does not have hair on its head or on its neck. That right there was a dead giveaway. I didn't have to read anything else when I saw that, and I looked at that. The talons have been shortened, and the beak has been shortened. Why? Because they've been domesticated. Now, you have to understand, they were not native to America, but they were brought over here. And because the Jews ate them, and it was just a tradition, it is not kosher, but because it was tradition, they just adopted it in and said that it was okay to do so. So for many of us that have been following this, once again, it says not to have anything like it or of that kind. So that means that because it is of the vulture family, it is not kosher. It is unkosher. So we are not supposed to eat them no matter how many times they have domesticated them. One thing they cannot do is they cannot change the structure of them. And so once again, as we were told, I want to share this information with you. So those of you that are believers and that you've been eating turkey, or you know somebody that does, that's a believer that eats turkey, tell them, because I hear a lot of people always talking about chicken, but you better look at that turkey, because a turkey is a vulture. So it is important, once again, that we learn some things. As one thing I've learned in this way of life is that we're going to always be learning something. We're going to always be learning. And we stay open to it, he will continue to lead and guide us. Once again, I want to say to you, it is not kosher. And so we have to put it away. And so once again, I want to say to you, it is important that we continue to remain open, but we do not eat turkey. And as of that day, we threw all that what we had out, and we repented and asked Abba Yah to forgive us, because one thing about it, he reveals his secrets to them that he ahabas. And so we ain't walking around here, acting like we Mr. and Mrs. Big Stuff. We want to know, because we know there are still some things that we don't know. And once again, I want to say to you, if you've been eating it, turkey bacon, turkey sausages, or whatever, discard it, because it's not kosher. We can't eat it. Now, once again, does that mean we can't eat the other kosher stuff? I didn't say that. According to Wayikra chapter 11, he gave us an outline of what we can eat. And so once again, we want to do right. And once again, we got to take full responsibility for our lives. And I take full responsibility for my life. And so once again, this was an error that we didn't know until it was brought to our attention. And so as it was brought to our attention, I'm bringing it to yours. Many of you, I'm sure, probably don't eat turkey. But for those of us that did indulge in it, I'm saying to you this day, don't eat it anymore. Disregard it. And you can eat chicken. You can eat quail. You can eat pheasant because those are part of the kosher list. And so once again, just to share some information with you, because I truly do harbor you, share the word, spread it, and let folks know. Once again, these are the things that we need to know. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Now, as we've come to this portion, as we've come to seal our time of prayer and our time of petition before Abba Yah, we want to bow before our King. Let us do so as we recite this. I want to say to you also, as we prepare to do it tonight, Abba Yah willing, at 7:45, we'll be back in here for our Higher Heights and Deeper Depths Torah study, where we are talking about the timeline of Yahushua, which is important unto us to know the places that he went and to know the lives of the people that he affected and brought change to. He did not go for everybody. He just went for the prostituting sheep of Yisrael. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Let us bow. Repeat with me. May the utterance of my mouth,
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you.
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you.
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. Once again, I want to say to you, we ahaba you in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Also, I want to say to you, remember, once again tonight at 7:45, Yahuwah willing, we'll be back here at this time to go right into class. Once again, I am Prophetess Sabrina Brown, also Moral 777, and I am the leader of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, Hebraic Belief Ministries located in South Carolina. Once again, I want you to remember here at Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom, Hebraic Belief Ministries, this is the place where the Torah does the body excellent. Until next time, may Abba Yah Baruch Atah and keep you in his shalom until we meet again. Also, I want you to remember that you've been touched by Champion TV, a place where champions reside. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.